up, Vegas fans? I'm Jamie.
I'm Ashley.
And for the first time in over a month, we are recording fresh excuse me. You can tell it's been over a month. We're off to a great start. Fresh content. Let's try that again. Why? Why has it taken us so long to put out new stuff?
It's been busy.
It has been busy.
We have a new addition to our family.
She wanted a puppy. And you know, it's starting to make sense now because our daughter graduated high school in late May. And
That's also another reason.
She's moving out, and I think she's replacing her with a puppy is what's happening. It's the maternal instinct. But yeah, daughter graduating, so we had family in town. We got a puppy, and
moved her to the city.
We moved the daughter. It's been incredibly busy. You don't give a shit.
No.
Let's call a spade a spade. You don't care. But I wanted to, at the very least, let you know that we have legitimate excuses for taking so long in between fresh content and new content, and fresh content and old content. That's what we're looking for. So I apologize if you're one of those people that come on, put out new stuff. I don't think that's happening.
Probably not.
There's no one going, oh my God, when will they put out new stuff? You know,
if you are, then great.
We'll put a photo of the puppy right now. Enjoy the photo that we're showing you. That's a big part because we're exhausted.
Yeah.
That stupid thing, man. It's made life interesting. Anyway, we're deviating a little bit from the typical Vegas Valuation show today because something pretty iconic happened recently in Las Vegas, and every influencer, every Las Vegas account on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, on social media, has been talking all about it, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it too because this place resonates with me. I've always enjoyed every chance we had to check it out. The Mirage, officially no more in Las Vegas. And so on today's edition of Vegas Valuations, a quick homage to the Mirage. As we were talking about earlier, this is a bit different than we typically offer on Vegas Valuations. We'll break down some of our experiences. We'll give you our rating out of 10. Not the case today. We are offering an homage to the Mirage, which closed officially on July 17th. Before we get too deep into this, though, don't forget to
like and subscribe.
We got it. It's like we haven't taken a whole month off. That's right. Like and subscribe if you like our content. No valuations today. No ratings. No rankings. Just a look back on the Mirage. I forget the exact year I went to Vegas for the very first time. It wasn't that long ago. Like maybe
2018, 2019.
Yeah, somewhere in that neck of the woods. But even prior to ever venturing to Las Vegas, the Mirage has always had a special place in my heart because one of my favorite movies is what?
Vegas Vacation.
Vegas Vacation. And if you know that the Griswolds stayed at the Mirage. The iconic scene where he is getting set to have some quality time with his wife in the airplane, and then his hand gets stuck in the toilet. It's all blue, and
I'm pretty sure it's his leg.
It's his hand because he says it's her leg, his hand. Her leg gets stuck. He reaches in, and the lady who's checking them in at the Mirage says that we have a fantastic dry cleaning service, sir. And he says no, it's a birthmark. And it's going all the way up. It's just if you haven't
seen it, you have to watch it.
You have to watch it.
Yeah.
But growing up watching that movie, I was well below the age of 21 when that movie came out. But ever since then, I've been sort of infatuated with the notion of visiting the Mirage one day. And so one of the first casinos I visited when we got to Las Vegas for the very first time, not with her, I went with my friend. She paid for the trip, was the Mirage. And I wasn't disappointed. We've only ever stayed there in terms of actually staying in the resort in a room once. Yeah. What did you think?
I thought it was okay. Like, it was definitely like a little bit outdated, but like I don't know. I always liked the Mirage as an entirety. Like, I think it was a very nice resort, even though it was older.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the actual stay, I don't know if I'd put it above. I wouldn't. I don't think I would put it above New York, in terms of the rooms. It was certainly a little dated, right? Yes. I mean, it's been an iconic part of the Strip since the late 80s, and there was certainly some parts that needed to be upgraded and updated, but the casino floor and all of the things we're going to talk about, that was always sort of the reason that, I went to go and check it out. It was never to go and stay in the rooms. And I will say that maybe we didn't, I don't want to say it left me with a bad taste, but we went and stayed at the Mirage for the very first time during COVID. This was the tail end of COVID. So we had to do as Canadians, the whole process was we had to pay MGM at the time to come and do swabs so we could find out if we could actually go home. And that was sort of, I didn't really like that. And that had nothing to do with the Mirage. It wasn't a knock. It was just the whole thing was bleak and depressing. So maybe that's why I never felt like I needed to go back. Another reason why we didn't really go back is because very early on in our regular trips to Las Vegas, we became an MGM couple. Yeah. And shortly after we started becoming an MGM couple, the Mirage and the MGM stopped working collaboratively. MGM sold the property to Hard Rock, which is why, if you're new to all of this, the Mirage is closing. It's going to close for substantial renovations and upgrades. It's taken over by the Hard Rock. That I'm sure you've seen it. We'll throw it up on the screen. The gigantic guitar will take the spot of the volcano. I don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other, except for the fact that it sucks that the Mirage had to fall victim to new development on the Strip. Yeah. Is that the way you feel? Yeah. I mean, I would have been okay with a gigantic guitar on the Strip. I'm not against that. Why at the expense of the Mirage? Mm-hmm. To me, it would have made, why not the Flamingo? Rip that thing. Yeah. We're probably going to get some hate for that because the Flamingo is also iconic. Do you have a favorite memory of the Mirage?
There's a few memories at the Mirage. The Secret Garden is one that really resonates with me. So, do you want me to tell the story?
Yeah, you tell it.
I don't know if it was that trip that we actually went there, but we went to, we bought tickets with our kids to go to the Secret Garden and see the lions and tigers and I think it's just tigers. Yeah,
dolphins were gone at that point, but it was just the big cats. Yeah. And we actually got the tickets for Secret Garden because we brought our kids down there in this time through My Vegas. Yes. At that point, they were offering discounted rates. Yes. Continue.
So we get to the Secret Garden and we get lined up, get through, and then as soon as we got through the gates to the Secret Garden, one of the guys from Siegfried and Roy was there. Yeah, it was Siegfried.
Yeah, it was Siegfried. Roy was, I don't think he had officially passed at that point, but it wasn't. No, maybe he had. Yeah. But it was definitely Siegfried.
So, so he was there and he was standing there and there was a lineup to talk to him. And we stood in line and talked to him and he was such a nice person. So nice.
Honestly, it almost brings a tear to my eye thinking about how nice of a human being Siegfried was. You have to keep in mind here, the show's over for those two. He's got absolutely nothing to gain by hanging out in the Secret Garden and talking to people. You almost get it because Penn and Teller, they come out after their show and they mix and they mingle and, that's pretty cool, but they're also still selling tickets. This guy was legit just hanging out. A random line formed. We didn't know really what the line was for at the time. No. I looked up, I'm like, I don't know who that is, but let's just get in this line and see where this ride goes. And it was just to get a picture with Siegfried. And I almost felt bad for the people behind because he was so engaging and so wanting to have conversations that he spent 5 minutes talking to us. Yeah. He asked our kids what their favorite part of Vegas was so far. What do you want to be when you grow up? And what do you do? And where are you from? It was a lengthy conversation. Mm-hmm. Just a dude that seemed genuinely happy to be talking to people. Yeah. I don't know if at that point Mirage was paying him to be there. They certainly didn't advertise that he was going to be there and you could take their photo. We just sort of stumbled into it. And at that moment, you're right. That to me is one of my favorite moments of actually, never mind the Mirage, any Las Vegas trip. Because it was so unplanned. It was so bizarre. And say what you will, some people, they may be watching this and be like, how dare you support the place that, keeps big cats behind cages. I know that there are some anti-zoo people. But even the Secret Garden, I thought, was pretty cool. I would put the Secret Garden above the aquarium at the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, for sure, yes.
It was super cool. That was the one and only chance we got to check it out because it closed not too long after that. And it was a very cool moment.
It was.
That to me is certainly one of the peak memories of the Mirage, was just sort of that experience and to be able to do it as a family. In terms of service, I don't know. Like, I never really had. Okay, I will say one bad thing about the Mirage: the rum bar.
Oh yeah.
We checked out the rum bar. For those that didn't have the opportunity, kind of higher end cocktails as well as cigars. We were there killing some time before a comedy show, and unfortunately, they didn't have much in terms of the cigars. And this wasn't on the way out. This wasn't like, well, we're closing in a few days, sir, so you'll have to forgive us because we don't have all of the cigars that we normally would. This was still, we're very much in operation, still running the show, and a lot had been yet to be decided. But they didn't have any of the cigars I wanted.
No. And the drinks were overpriced and terrible. Not
great. And the service was meh. Yeah. That's maybe one of the few not great things I'll say about the Mirage. The casino was meh. It was okay. Mm-hmm. It didn't stand out to me as one of my favorite casinos in Las Vegas, but
the shows were awesome.
Yes. And that's just, to me, one of the worst things about the closing of the Mirage.
Because, like, Shin was there,
mm-hmm.
which we loved.
Yeah.
Love was there, which we also loved.
Yeah.
And then just the comedy shows. They were so great.
Very quickly talking about Shin and Love. I'm really bummed out that Love hasn't been picked up by another casino and put somewhere. To me, I think we're going to go check out for the first time Mad Apple in New York when we go. We're going late August and into September. I think Love would be a great fit for New York. I'd get rid of Mad Apple. I've heard mixed reviews, and obviously the ticket sales, I don't think they're very strong there. I would like to see Love end up somewhere else. I really, really liked Love. I'd put it up into my favorite, one of my top 5 favorite shows in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Shin next to David Blaine, was the best magic show I've seen in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he's really good. And he has been picked up.
Yeah, I think what made the Shin show so good is that he and Colin Cloud performed one after the other throughout the show. Mm-hmm. It was like machine gun action. Shin up there, does an incredible, illusion, and then curtain light. Colin Cloud's up next, does something awesome. There was no dead spaces.
A- not good enough.
When the Mirage decided that it was it, we're closing July 17th, and it made the announcement, it wasn't long after that Shin stopped performing there, and he has since resurfaced like a great magician would. He's where? Venetian?
Venetian, yeah.
He's at the Venetian. So if you haven't seen Shin I highly recommend you do, but keep in mind, our perspective and prerogative on the show in terms of how great we rant and rave about it is with Colin Cloud. And it's not that show anymore because Colin Cloud is now at Harris. They've broken up the duo. They're each doing their own things. I think we'll have to go and check out Shin
Yeah.
We were going to do a Vegas Valuations for Shin but I don't think we should anymore.
No, because we don't know what his new show is going to be like.
Yeah, but either way, just hypothetically speaking, just so we can make people feel real bummed out that they missed stuff, what would you give Love out of 10?
Like 9.
I'd give it a 9 too.
Yeah.
I don't want to admit it, but at one point we named our son Jude, right? We really liked the song Hey Jude, so obviously we're Beatles fans. When that song was going on, I got a little misty-eyed because it was just incredible. Just it's just so freaking good. I'm really, really disappointed that we only had a chance to see it one time. So I give it a 9. Shin out of 10, what would you give it?
9.
So it's kind of a bummer that the Mirage, with that closing, that's it. That's all. Those shows, as we know them right now, no longer cease to exist. They cease to exist.
And we saw Ray Romano, David Spade.
Tom Segura.
Was Tom Segura at Mirage?
Yeah, this is one of the really big, fat, freaking bummers about the Mirage, is losing the Aces of Comedy as a venue. So the Aces of Comedy always had, in my opinion, aside from a comedy club, and you know what? No, I'm going to retract that statement. The Aces of Comedy had the best comedy lineup in Las Vegas, period, full stop. End of story.
Because it was also Bill Maher who went there too. Right?
Tosh, Bill Maher, Romano, Spade, and when it wasn't with Spade, he was with Kevin James Romano, because he always goes back to back. By the way, speaking of Maher and Romano, Bill Maher's got a podcast. I forget what it's called. It's called Club Random. And Bill Maher and Ray Romano talk about how much they loved performing at the Mirage on a recent episode of that podcast. You can go find it. Since then, they've all sort of gone their separate ways. You've taken what was a great location, Tim Allen, another great one that was always performing there. You've taken what was a great comedy lineup, and you've broken up the band. Now they're off in different venues. I think David Spade is now at the Venetian. Don't quote me on that. I saw him pop up somewhere. Bill Maher is at MGM Grand, the Garden Arena. Tom Segura went to, I believe it was Cosmo.
Oh.
You always knew that if you wanted to see a comedy show with a big name headliner, this is no disrespect to Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, Jimmy Kimmel's, we've been to those, no disrespect to the Comedy Cellar or Rio, you're not going to get the big names like you would at the Aces of Comedy and Mirage. Now they're one-off shows, and that's sort of what the Aces of Comedy was at the Mirage. They were one-off shows, but they were part of a great lineup of consistent comedians, big-name talent, almost every weekend.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I really miss. Now it's one-off shows at different resorts, and yeah, it was like no matter what, there was a good comedian doing a brief stint, so it always felt like there was a comedy legend doing a residency at the Mirage. Yeah. That's sort of how it felt, and I'm really bummed out about that. Mm-hmm. Actually, every time I still have to stop myself from going to look up the Aces of Comedy lineup, because that was one of my first stops always, so that really sucks. Aside from that, one more thing I think we should say about the Mirage, and it's so funny. Last time we were in Vegas, was it May?
Yeah.
We're in Vegas. A recent windstorm had picked up a couple of weeks before we got there, and it had actually been so strong that it knocked off some of the lettering and some of the facade on the signs. And one of those signs that fell victim to the wind was Mirage. There was missing pieces. And we're over at Casino Royale because if you know, you know. And I looked across the street. We didn't have any intention of going to the Mirage. And I said, because we didn't know the next time we were going to be back, and they hadn't formally announced when they were closing. At that point, I said, we should go over there, because I have a feeling that it's about to be done. And that atrium, man, I'm happy that we went back. The smell, the mermaid, right? The mermaid, as soon as you walk in, that atrium's so beautiful. We took a photo. To me, not to get overly nostalgic, but it's definitely one of the places that I'm going to be bummed out that we don't get a chance to visit while we're bouncing along the strip. Anyway, fare thee well. We're back in Vegas when?
We leave August 27th.
August 27th.
Coming back the 2nd of September.
We're going for Marktember.
Marktember, yeah.
Well, we're not invited. We're just going to show up.
What?
Well, I did say I'm coming, and he didn't say don't. Talking about pennies for Vegas.
We weren't actually invited.
He didn't reach out to me directly and be like, you should come. That's not how it went. But we're there during the event. He asked who was going to be there, and I replied, I'm coming. We're coming. We're going to show up.
Okay.
We're going to cut this into a short so he can see it, because I think that's the only thing he watches of ours, because he likes how we yell at each other. And yeah, just so you know, we're going to be there. I don't know what day it is. It's not my event to tell you about more than what I've already said, but we're also going to, see Dane Cook?
Oh, yeah, we are going to see Dane Cook.
Staying at the Aria, MGM Grand.
Yeah.
But as always, if you have any suggestions, any tips, anything you want us to check out when we get back to the regular Vegas Valuations theme, which is, of course, offering our ratings and rankings and some of the events.
Guess what else we're doing, too?
I don't know.
Top Golf.
Top Golf. We wouldn't miss it. There are two things we always do when we go to Las Vegas. Top Golf and Alexis.
Right.
Always on the hit list.
Always Alexis.
Anyway, we're back to regular scheduled programming, back to ratings, back to rankings very, very soon. Thanks for your patience if you're one of the few people. Let's be honest. Again, nobody's waiting for new content, but it would sure mean a lot to us if you'd like and subscribe. Apparently that helps. I don't know how.
But it does.
It does. Until next time.